In pandemic-plagued London, in the cold depths of winter, an icon of the city is suffering. London's famous black cabs are on the brink.
As soon as you think of London, you think of the black taxis, don't you? And the red telephone boxes and things like that. We've lost our telephone boxes. I've been driving the taxi for about 9 years now, since 2012, and I really enjoy it.
What do you love about it?
You know, you pick up people from all walks of life. They all talk to the taxi drivers about their life, so I hear some lovely stories. Also, driving the taxi, the beauty of it is I can work when I like and stop when I like, and drive wherever I like. And London's a beautiful city, it's fantastic.
But under the UK's strictest lockdown yet, London is eerily quiet. Pubs, restaurants, theatres and non-essential shops are shut. The 21 million tourists usually here are gone, and the city's workforce is largely working from home. It's absolutely dead, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is Oxford Circus. What would it normally be like at this time on a Friday?
Oh, jam-packed for people, wouldn't it? Look at Oxford Street now, how quiet it is. I mean, the pavements would have been full up with people, all of these shops open.
Everything's shut.
Yeah.
If you're a taxi driver, that is a problem. Yeah, nobody looks like they're looking for a cab.
No.
Nobody.
No. In lockdown, there's no guarantee you're going to get a fare. So you could work all day and not get a fare.
And for Dale, that's a very expensive problem.
This is the electric taxi. I bought it in February in 2020. I didn't foresee that we were going to have a lockdown in March, which we did. So the taxi cost me £70,000, which I pay over a 5-year plan. I'm still working literally just to try and pay my costs of running the taxi.
It's a losing battle. Dale isn't making enough to cover her costs because her taxi income has dropped by 80%. Government grants have helped her stay afloat. But for London cabbies, the economic pain has been as drawn out as the pandemic itself. The UK has been hit hard by the pandemic. With over 4 million cases and more than 125,000 deaths, many feel the coronavirus response failed.
As Prime Minister, I take full responsibility for everything that the government has done.
After a bad first wave, the country was reopened in July for summer.
I think people need to go out, I think people need to enjoy themselves and rediscover things that they haven't been able to do for a long time. And I want to see bustle, I want to see activity.
Then in winter, infections skyrocketed, the virus mutated, and by January, hospitals were swamped with the sick and the dead. The country remains in strict lockdown, and now, over a year on, London's cabbies are still struggling to survive. We're looking at the black cabs because it's so iconic of London, you know, such a cultural thing. To hear how other cabbies are going, Dale and I meet some drivers waiting at a normally busy central London taxi rank. So, obviously, COVID, how's it affecting black cabbies like yourselves?
It's obliterated the trade. I mean, I'll come out, I'll probably do 10 hours and I might get 4 jobs if I'm lucky.
Really?
Say if you have to make 50 just to break even, you'll earn 30. And it's cost you £20 to go to work, which is crazy.
But why keep coming out if it's costing you money?
It's your sanity, honestly. I'm only working 4 days a week just to keep myself going, because otherwise you just go nuts.
Yeah.
Mentally, you're knackered. You know, you don't want to get out of bed.
Coming to work is saving my marriage, right? If me and her were at home all the time, that would be it.
These drivers are still on the road, still coming to work. But most are not. A peak taxi body says only 20% of drivers are working.
A lot of cab drivers have handed their badges back. The old boys, they're not going to come back. A lot of them won't come back.
If you go to any of the garages that have a big fleet, they'll take you to a field where they've got 200 cabs just sitting in a field doing nothing.
I'd heard about these taxi graveyards, so we decided to see one for ourselves, just north of London. The day we decided to visit, an Arctic cold front had swept in,
Should we just stop here?
Yep, that's perfect.
creating one of the coldest days of the year.
Could have chosen a sunnier day to come out here.
Yeah.
Whoa, slippery Dale, be careful. So have you heard about this place before?
Yeah, it's been all in the papers, hasn't it? And on the news.
These cabs have been here since the pandemic started.
And then how many, that's, it's like hundreds.
There's more down there. Oh, no.
Wow. What do you think when you see this?
Oh, it's terrible. It's just so sad. I'm just thinking this is people's livelihoods. What are these people doing, work-wise? You know, how are they surviving?
Have you ever seen this number of taxis just sort of furloughed like
no,
this?
No, never seen it. Well, I just hope when we come out of this lockdown, these people can come back to work. I hope this isn't permanent.
There are about 220 taxis in this field. Many are owned by a company that rented them out to drivers. With no work on the streets, drivers stopped renting the vehicles, so the company put them in deep freeze.
So it's really one thing to hear about how badly hit London's cabbies have been with the COVID crisis, but it really is another thing entirely to see it. I'm shocked by the number of cabs that are just parked up here. They don't look like they're going to go anywhere fast either. And these aren't just vehicles, they're not just cabs. Each one of these vehicles represents somebody's livelihood. It's a family without the income. It's somebody without the certainty of that money. And this could go on for another several months.
And this is only the tip of the iceberg. Official figures reveal that over 1/4 of all London cabs, or nearly 5,000 vehicles, are off the road.
Morning guys, how you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Not so bad, not so bad.
Most of the cabs in the field are owned by Simon and Paolo.
We've tried to sell some of the taxis, however, you can't even sell them and get reasonable money back for them.
The price, they say, has crashed by 2/3. Their garage business here is all that's keeping them afloat.
Have you had any government support as a result of this? I mean,
We've had zero support from the government. We've tried, we've sent emails. We've had no support whatsoever.
under any of the schemes?
No schemes, no
Really?
support, nothing.
Wow. And
We've
there's
been
no-
left on our own to try and survive.
These guys are in a tight spot. Their garage business is an essential service that's allowed to stay open under lockdown. But because they're open, they don't qualify for government support. And what's the point of being open when there isn't any work for taxis in London? It's a terrible catch-22.
We can't just close the doors and walk away from it. Our homes will be at risk. Our families, there's no support anywhere. It's a bit like you've been left on your own in a desert.
Yeah.
Find your own source of water. That's how it feels we've been left in this industry. We don't believe this year London will get back to normality, especially with the taxi industry.
Yes, we've got a vaccine now, but now there's this new strain of virus coming along. Who knows? Who knows?
When London does get back to normality, I think it will only be running at approximately 60–70%. It will not be back to 100% for many years.
A grim prediction for an old trade. London's taxis are called hackney carriages, harking back to when horse-drawn carts for hire were the first taxis in the world to be regulated back in the 17th century. Through the years, they've been modernised, motorised, and now electrified. But it's not the iconic black cab itself that makes London's taxis stand out. It's what's in the drivers' heads. and that is called the knowledge. It's London's 25,000 streets, all memorised. Learning the knowledge today is a man coming from another old profession. Paolo is a farrier, a hoof care specialist.
I mean, I love what I do, don't get me wrong. I think it's a fantastic profession, shoeing horses and being a farrier. But I just want to drive a cab and just spend time in London.
His mate Lee, another farrier turned cabbie, thinks the career switch is more to do with future planning.
I just think with the cabbing, the majority of people tend to want to do it older in life, you know, as the body starts to wear a little bit.
I've got a young family to support the family. Obviously, you know, I need to think of longevity. How long can I keep shoeing? It's quite a laborious job.
So, at 48 years old, after a quarter century as a farrier, the master has become the apprentice again. Paolo is swapping his hammer and anvil for a scooter and maps, the tools of choice for learning London's labyrinthine streets.
Danes Church on the left, Somerset House to the left on the Strand.
The knowledge is a legendary test that takes about 3 to 5 years on average to study and pass. It's thought to be the highest bar for entry for any taxi service in the world.
I'm still at the beginning, if you like, of the examination process.
Another couple of years to go, or?
I reckon so, yeah. 2 years, if all goes well.
Today in central London, he's learning a route, starting at a place with me in mind.
So we're going to see you at Paddington Station, right?
Yeah.
And good luck.
All right, thank
you.
you.
We're not going to time you.
Yeah, okay. There's no meter, right? So going from the Australia House to Paddington Station.
You did the route. Was it all right?
Yeah.
Did you get anything wrong?
I think I was all right, actually. Yeah, you can test me if you want. You want to test me?
Okay, give us a couple.
Okay, so leave on right Strand, right Aldwych, left Drury Lane, left Eye Holborn, forward Prince's Circus, leave by St Giles High Street, right Earnshaw Street, left Harrow Road, Comply Road Circus, left into Paddington Station.
Mate, that's amazing.
So
you passed. It's in there.
Well,
You got it.
It's not as easy as that.
Gaining the knowledge is one thing, but getting into an industry that's on its knees is another.
How do you feel about doing the knowledge at this particular point in time? I mean, with COVID and everything else.
Yeah, it's mixed emotions because whilst at the moment I'm still studying and still going through the process, by the time I got my badge, 2 years, let's say, I'm quite optimistic the economy is going to be in a better place. But for these guys and girls and men and women that are cab drivers already, I feel for them because you can see, look, it's not moving. There's no one around.
It's not just the black cabbies who are hurting from the pandemic. Sharing the pain are drivers for the gig economy services like Uber and Bolt. While most black cab drivers are white, in contrast, gig drivers are nearly all black, Asian or from ethnic minorities, including Eastern Europeans.
Hi, Mihal. Hello.
Hi.
Evan, how are you?
Hi, Evan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks for arranging to see us.
How are you today?
Oh, it's cold today, isn't it?
It is.
Michal drives for the apps Uber and Bolt. He's Polish, coming to the UK 5 years ago for a better economic life.
So in a normal time, how is it? Is it a good job to have?
It's a very good job to have. In a good times, I could earn, let's say, easily £1,000 a week.
Wow.
But not anymore. Now he's barely getting by. Michal is paying for his car with what's called a rent-to-buy contract. The idea is that he rents it for £254, for about $500 a week, and after 4 years, it's his. Well, that was the idea before the pandemic.
I'm struggling week by week, sir. So basically, many times last couple of weeks, I didn't have a full amount of the rent.
If he misses a rental payment, the car has a built-in security feature to remind him of it.
If I'm not gonna pay the invoice, they're gonna turn on the alarm in this vehicle anytime I press the accelerate.
You're going to turn on the alarm
Yeah,
in the car
yeah,
if you haven't made the payment.
yeah. Anytime I press the accelerator, it's gonna be alarm. Beep, 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 beep.
So then you can't use the car.
No, because customer is gonna think I have a broken car.
Wow. How are you feeling about it at the moment then? How do you feel personally?
I'm tired. I'm tired of stressing out. My mental health is not in a perfect condition.
Not making ends meet, Michael is cutting corners where he can. He's surviving off cheap supermarket lunch deals.
Do you feel it's good for you?
I don't believe so, but it's feeding me well.
Does the job.
Does the
Yeah.
job.
With so little work, he took out loans. He estimates he's now £10,000, or roughly $20,000, in personal debt.
And do you think then keeping going with the Uber, can you keep going with Uber or do you need to find something else?
Not at the moment. The biggest problem is this car cost me so much in last 1.5 years, and that's my investment. Once I lose it, let's say one invoice unpaid, and they tow it. Once they tow it, my career is end. Who gonna give me car?
Despite working during the pandemic, Michael says the app companies offer little to no help.
Help from Uber, it's to give a discounts for the customers. That's the only way they're trying to help the industry. And if you get a COVID-19, they're gonna pay you £90 a week for 2 weeks. That's it. Nothing more.
Catching COVID is a real risk in an Uber, where sharing a tight space with the public is inevitable, and where at the height of the UK's winter wave, there were 68,000 new cases in just one day. But Michael's concern isn't so much with the virus itself, it's that he can't afford the time off from earning money.
It's scary. It's scary. Let's say I get ill, or I'm gonna be off for a week. That's it. That's it. I'm not gonna have the money for a car.
Michael's not the only one who relies on his income. He has a 1-year-old son, born just 3 months before the pandemic struck. And his girlfriend, Dominica, is a full-time mum. This is a young family living on the edge.
And if this goes on for several more months, which it could do with the new strains, what's your future then?
That's gonna destroy me. That's gonna destroy me mentally, financially. As I said, maximum 2 weeks without any income, ending the story.
Right. Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that.
We're coping somehow, but it's not perfect.
I wish you all the best with it, guys.
Yeah.
You're a hard worker, so I know you'll get through it. But yeah, it's difficult times.
The question is how we're gonna get through it.
Yeah.
He's smiling. Oh.
The UK has been badly hit by the coronavirus pandemic. London is firmly locked down, the streets are dead, and drivers of the famous black cabs are desperately out of work. They're also furious with the changes to the city's streets brought in under emergency COVID measures. To allow more space for social distancing, or that's what the city said, some footpaths have been widened. New cycle lanes have popped up, and a war has erupted over who gets to use London's roads. Head to head in this battle are the cabbies and the cyclists.
Hi.
Morning, Evan.
Good morning, Donica. How are you?
I'm good. Glorious morning.
Is this your regular bike?
Yep.
I used to have one of those and I got nicked the other week.
Donica McCarthy is a cycling activist. He's taking on the taxi lobby and pushing for more cycle lanes in the city.
We're here on Blackfriars Bridge, right beside the north-south cycling superhighway. These were the first ones installed in London around 6-7 years ago after a campaign by many of us, whilst London up to then had no decent cycle lanes. The extraordinary thing about this is the success of it.
Now, what about the taxi drivers? I mean, obviously you've taken here, we can see here, an entire lane, maybe 2 lanes, of what was traffic spot. So what was the taxi drivers' response?
They went absolutely nuts. They took out legal injunctions to try and stop this cycle lane being built.
This one?
Yeah.
Right.
Every single infrastructure or action we want to take on safer streets in London, the cab industry is opposing it. And they're a very, very powerful lobby.
Case in point, the taxi lobby recently took the city to court over a nearby flashpoint, which Donica is going to show me now.
Okay, here we go. As you can see on the right-hand side, this is a temporary CV19 cycle lane they put in, which is a step in the right direction. But going east, we still have to share the road with the cars and buses. Hey Evan, how are you?
That was quick.
Yeah, I'm quick.
This is the front line in London's traffic war.
We're at Bishopsgate in front of Liverpool Station. This is the heart of the City of London. Hundreds of thousands of people use this junction every day.
Liverpool Street Station would usually be full of commuters and taxis touting for fares. But when COVID struck, London Mayor Sadiq Khan banned taxis from travelling in front of the station. Unsurprisingly, cab drivers didn't like it. 2 taxi industry groups took the city and the mayor to court. The cabbies argued they cannot be banned from bus lanes because they are too public transport. The judge agreed, but Donica does not.
The idea that a private vehicle for hire, a chauffeur for hire is public transport, it's nonsense. Give me a break. Basically the cabbies serve, their customers are rich tourists, rich executives and rich young people who are on a night out. There is a small sector of disabled people who need them, it's around 1%. There is a need for that.
But aside from that, Donica wants most taxis gone.
But I understand that we're actually saying, look, a lot of your industry is serving an unnecessary need that we can't afford for the health of London and safety of Londoners. They see that as a threat to their income. I understand that, but we do see that we cannot afford the cab industry that London currently has.
For now, cabbies like Dale are celebrating the win in court, but they're still not allowed down Bishopsgate while the city appeals.
We are public transport and we should be allowed to go through this road on Bishopsgate. We should not be excluded. We are public transport. I would drive up this road all day long, all day long. This is the main routes we've learnt on the knowledge. And then you'll see, oh, I can't go down here now, except buses and cycles.
For Dale, the street changes are the final straw.
Because it's like, you can't crucify us anymore. Not only do we have a lockdown, they're closing roads, narrowing roads, stopping us going down certain roads. Not only do we not have the passengers, they're making our job more difficult.
Dale feels like her industry is being kicked while it's down. Right now, she's contemplating what to do. She's not earning enough fares in a day to cover her costs.
How lovely! I'm so pleased to see you. Pardon? I'm so pleased to see you. I'm so pleased to see you.
Finally, a passenger, and she's Australian. Like all good London cabbies, Dale strikes up a conversation.
It's actually got quite bad for Australians here now. And there's literally like Australians living in homeless shelters in London. You know, I'm unfortunate I'm not in that situation.
Yeah.
But it's really awful because there's caps on how many people can get home.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, really hard.
These kinds of interactions are what Dale loves about her job.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
See you later.
Take
Have a
care.
lovely day.
And you, thank you. Bye.
See ya.
Yeah. Oh, wasn't she lovely? Oh, that's so good. I was getting really worried not having a fare. What are the chances of that? Lovely Australian lady. So let's have a look what that fare was. 16.40. Oh, she put a tip on, bless her. That's nice. £3.28. So it came to 19.68. And I started about 10 o'clock today. 10, 11, 12, 1. Anyway, I'm pleased to get that. I'm really, really lucky because it has been awful. Wow.
But with only one passenger in 6 hours, it's not sustainable. Though vaccines are bringing hope,
Hi, Dale.
and the country is slowly emerging out of lockdown, Dale has a while to wait yet before she's back earning a decent wage from her taxi. For now, she's had to adapt with a second job.
This is gorgeous, this place, though.
COVID rules mean I can't go inside her quaint old cottage, but I do get to meet her pet chihuahua and a saved chicken.
Dolly and Daisy. Oh, look, freezing.
So yeah, they're all vegan, and I've rescued them. So all right, so we're all good friends.
Oh, that's lovely.
Okay, Dolly, we're going now.
For her second job, Dale's now driving a different vehicle, but she's still using her knowledge of London's streets.
So for the last 10 months, I've been doing supermarket deliveries for a big supermarket. Not in my taxi, I drive their van. And I'm taking my taxi there, get in the van and do my deliveries right up till 10 o'clock at night. That's 5 days a week. Then on my 2 days off, I go in town in my electric taxi to try and do some work. I've never worked so hard for such little money doing the deliveries, but it has been a saviour, and I'm one of the lucky ones. Some people aren't lucky enough to get the supermarket job. I never ever envisioned me being a supermarket delivery driver, but that really has saved me. You've just got to get out and try and earn some sort of living. And then every month you're hoping we'll come out of lockdown, things will be back to normal. You just got to keep positive and hopefully that will happen.